mountains and thunderstruck. No one could survive it.
Is the Lagos State Governor's Office here in Ikeja, venue of the meeting on community policing involving governors of the southwest region of the country.
It's about 7:30 p.m. and according to eyewitnesses, this accident happened at about an hour ago. At this material time, it appears there is no solution.
On Osrc News at 7, first batch of Ukraine-based Nigerians land in Abuja amid moving emotions. Governor Akeredolu returns schools to missionary owners in fulfillment of promise. Ondo State government vows global standards for education sector. Nigeria drops in terrorism chart as troops claw into Boko Haram insurgents.
Thanks for joining us on the news tonight. Oluwatoyin Omodara is my name. The big issue will continue shortly after the news. But before then, let's continue with the news. The first set of Nigerian evacuees from Ukraine have arrived to the country. They were airlifted from Romania, where they had taken shelter in the wake of the conflict in the Eastern European nation. The evacuees were received by government officials at the private jet terminal of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The returnees, mostly students, underwent documentation before returning home. Government officials said the evacuees will be given some stipends, are expected to also self-isolate at home in line with the COVID-19 protocols. More Nigerians are expected in the country in the coming days as Russia's invasion of its neighbor continues. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration will continue to defend the interest of Nigerians wherever they may be. Buhari said defending the interest of Nigerians is paramount to his administration and will continue to defend the interests of all Nigerians wherever they may be. He said his administration has fulfilled these commitments as seen in Libya, South Africa, and what it is doing in Ukraine, where thousands of Nigerians, especially students, are trapped by the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Ondo State Governor Oluwatimi Akeredolu says more schools will be returned to their missionary proprietors in fulfillment of promises made by the state government. Governor Akeredolu, while receiving the newly inaugurated executives of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Ondo State, said Aquinas College and St. Louis Girls Grammar School, both in Akure, as well as 2 primary schools, have been returned to the missionary owner. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports that the governor also had an audience the leadership of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments.
Following his emergence as the new chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Ondo State, it was time for Reverend Father Anselm Ologunwa to meet minds with Governor Akeredolu on the new beginning. While appreciating the governor for his numerous support to the association, Reverend Father Ologunwa promised to join hands with government to promote religious harmony in the state.
We are here to encourage and pray for you and to entrust you and your team of executives and collaborators to God Almighty, that He may guide your affairs to the greater glory of His holy name and for the good of humanity. We urge you to be spiritually fortified in Christ.
Governor Akeredolu, who congratulated the new leadership, noted that the spiritual guidance and fervent prayers of religious leaders have sustained his administration.
We had promised that we'll turn schools to missionaries. And we are keeping to our promise. We are not running away from it. But all we can say here for now is that it's only the Catholic Church that has shown interest. A group of people are opposed to it. And our position is that if you want your own, come and take it. Those who want their own, don't block them. If you can't take yours, don't block those who want to take their own. And you have requested, Catholic Church has requested for 2 secondary schools and 2 primary schools. We they're sorting it out now. We have approved. There is no problem. Aquena, St. Louis, and 2 primary schools. Those are the ones which we have approved. So we are not. So if you know you can run your own school, come.
The governor also played host to the leadership of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, led by its Director General, Professor Abba Tijani. The Director General said Idori Hill, Araromi Seaside, Igbo Olodumare, Iho Eleru, and the Palace of Deji are part of the new 107 monument centers being proposed to the federal government.
You find that anywhere in the world, if you go, you will see that museums are strategically located in the central area. And the reason for that is because we want the people to have easy access to museums. When tourists come into our country, we want to see that the place is accessible.
Governor Akere Dolu thanked the commission for recommending some of the tourist centers in the state as national monuments.
We will, as much as possible, continue to promote tourism here. And one of our area of interest, because we have the longest coastline, and we have today a beach that is as good as anywhere, and that's Araromi Beach. So we have been working on it and trying to see how we got a campaign to the corner interested, and they say they are going to start. And I think other people are brought to see what we can do. From there, all you have to do is pick a speedboat or anything from Lagos, you are there in 30 minutes. It's so near. Just 30, 40 minutes, you are there.
He restated his passion to promote economic growth of the state through tourism. The governor, who said the place of museums in the socio-economic development of any society cannot be overlooked, reaffirmed his administration's resolve to change the economic fortunes of the state by harnessing its resources maximally. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has approved the appointment of Femi Idris, chairman of the Local Government Service Commission. A statement by Richard Olatunde, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, lists other full-time members of Local Government Service Commission as Ife Iji, Dennis Alunge, Mrs. Ronke Ojo, and Bola Taiwo. Akeredolu equally approved the appointment of Reverend Raphael Agbola, full-time chairman of the State Christian Welfare Board. Others appointed as part-time members of the board are Reverend John Oladapo, Apostle Charles Ajekpe, Pastor Fumilayo Odeyemi, and Reverend Father Fidelis Olokumboro. In the same vein, the governor approved the appointment of Alaja Fausat Olorunyomi, Alaji Abdurrashid Olawe, Alaji Abdulatif Akerele, and Alaji Nureni Akorede as part-time members of the State Muslim Welfare Board. The appointment take immediate effect. Let's go on a break now, and when we come back, we'll serve you more stories on the news. Please stay with us.
Plus is here. Existing Glow customers will get 400% bonus on every recharge and 100 MB data bonus on first recharge of the month. New Glow customers will get 1,000 Naira welcome bonus. To activate, buy a new Glow SIM today or dial *777# for existing Glow customers.
You're welcome back. Nigeria has moved to 6th in the latest Global Tourism Index, GTI, This follows successes in the fight against Boko Haram insurgents. The country dropped 2 places from 4th, a position it has occupied since 2017. The GTI, published by an independent and non-profit think tank, the Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP, indicated that Nigeria, Syria and Somalia are the only nations among the 10 most affected by terrorism to get an improved score from 2020 to 2021. According to the report, there was a decline in the number of terrorism-related deaths in Nigeria. It attributed these to the death of Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau and the federal government effort at defeating the group. The federal government is committed to building a strong armed forces. Defense Minister Bashir Magashi gave the assurance during the Armed Forces Special Day at the ongoing 43rd Kaduna International Trade Fair. Magashi also reiterated the federal government resolve to continue to provide adequate logistics and equipment for the armed forces to perform their assigned tasks. He noted that global events of the last few days have reinforced the need to improve local production of defense needs, improving security of supply chains and entering into international collaborations that would ensure transfer of technology. Noah Inspector General of Police Usman Akali Baba has approved a new and improved dress code for women officers of the force with an immediate effect. This is contained in a statement by the acting Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi. According to him, the new dress code permits them to wear stud earrings and head scarves on their beret for peak caps, as the case may be, while in uniform. He added that Nigeria Police workforce has officers from every local government in the country with a variety of ethnic and religious backgrounds, and increased inclusion of female folks, which prompted the need to guarantee inclusion, gender mainstreaming, ethnic and religious diversity in the workplace for optimum output and professionalism. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, Osrc TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. The rest of the bulletin: Ondo State Government says it will continue to refine the standard of education to make its products role models in the global market. Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology Femi Agagu spoke at a capacity building program organized for private school owners in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Kunle Ario reports.
The training program tagged Quality Assurance in Private Schools, School Development Plan Framework was organized by the Inspectorate and Quality Assurance Department of the Ministry of Education to reintroduce private school owners to best quality assurance practices in the 21st century. The State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, noted that Ondo State has become a role model in human capital development, indicative in the brilliant performances of its students both at national and international competitions. He said the government has been working around the clock to improve the quality of education being provided for students in all institutions in the state. And thus, the ministry is leveraging on the training to present to private school owners the principles and ideas that underpin quality assurance framework.
School development plan is a structured plan for school development derived from school self-evaluation and external evaluation, which seek to address identified areas for improvement as well as uphold areas of strength in the school system.
Mr. Agagu explained that the training was to key private schools owners into the global best practices of the 21st century, while also addressing challenges and prospects of the education sector. The Permanent Secretary, Lola Muda, noted that the prospect of any nation is tied to the template of both public and private educational institutions and urged private school owners to abide by government guidelines and education policies.
Consistent growth of private schools is a matter of great concern to this present government. It is gratifying to mention that a workshop of this magnitude in the attainment of educational goals, while this is also has the potential to create an enabling environment for the realization of the state government's agenda for the education sector, tagged within.
The training program is being carried out at 11 centers across the 3 central districts of the state. Kunle Abiyo, Osrc News.
No fewer than 1,200 students from Ondo Central Senatorial District of Ondo State are to benefit from the annual free JAMB form registration of Tola Awoshika Foundation. The founder, Tola Awoshika, said the rationale behind the helping hand is to assist indigent students who cannot afford the cost of the form but passionate about their academic pursuit. Our correspondent, Kunle Ario, again has details.
The 2022 annual free JAMB registration of Tola Awoshika Foundation is going on in the 6 local government areas of Ondo Central District. The idea is to assist brilliant but indigent students to realize their dream, presenting the forms to some students in Ondo town. The founder, Tola Awoshika, said the education support system of the free JAMB form is to encourage youth who cannot afford cost. Represented by his media aide on the occasion, Mr. Ayokunlemi Akimborewa, the founder appealed to youth to exploit the opportunity, adding that candidates will also be guided through the registration processes.
Doing what we are doing exactly here right now. So for all from these 32 schools in Ondo West, we have at least 10 students from each of these schools. You know, we can't bring all of the students in, but indigent students, very, very important. Probably you're an orphan, you have difficulties in obtaining this JAMB form, you are from a broken home. At least we have some very cogent criteria in which we've been using to select students that will benefit from this gesture.
Annually, Dr. Tola Awoshika embarks on many philanthropic deeds. Chiefly, this particular one we're here for, the JAMB scholarship, has been on for some years. And this year, it has taken a better dimension. This year, we are reaching out to 6 local governments.
The Ondo West Zone Education Officer, Ilori Olubumi, also represented by Mr. Akindolu Oyekomi, lauded the gesture.
This is to complement government efforts. The government, at the ministry level, really appreciate him for giving out of his wealth to the masses. So we appreciate him a lot for this.
Some parents and benefiting students applauded the initiative and promised to make use of the opportunity.
I'm planning to register my children, but there is no much with me. So therefore, I decided to register one of them. But now that Tola Foundation has done this, so I bless God for his life.
It is a very great privilege, and I can say in whole that I'm very grateful. I promise him that in this our forthcoming JAMB, we are going to come out in fly color, and we are going to surprise him, and his efforts towards us shall never be in vain.
Tola Awoshika Foundation is a non-government organization established to make life better for the citizenry, regardless of socioeconomic and political affiliations. Kunle Ario, Osrc News.
The federal government has reconstituted a team to renegotiate the 2009 agreement it had with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. Reconstituting the team, Education Minister Damoa Adamu said there is need to speedily bring to conclusion all outstanding issues in a 2009 agreement in order to achieve the desired industrial peace on Nigerian campuses. The team is expected to be inaugurated on Monday, the 7th of March 2022. The Office of the Special Advisor on Gender, in collaboration with Ondo State Entrepreneurship Agency and Strategic Solution USA, has organized a women empowerment seminar in Akure, the Ondo State capital. The program, which is the maiden edition in Ondo State, was tagged I Am Change and seeks to imbue young women with relevant skills that can influence social change for themselves and others. Joy Pius reports that the Secretary to Ondo State Government, Princess Oladuni Odu, was present at the event.
Women are strategic molders of values in society, and acknowledging this potential necessitated the initiative to equip these women with entrepreneurial skills. Participating in the empowerment seminar organized by the Office of a Special Advisor on Gender in collaboration with Ondo State Entrepreneurship Agency, US held a technical training session on creating a new paradigm, reimagining business, and scaling up entrepreneurship and investment in Ondo State. The program also created opportunity for participants to interact and share perspectives on ways to impact their world and make it a better place.
For me, the high point I'm taking away from this program is the need for periodic self-scrutiny. We must periodically scrutinize ourselves, reappraise ourselves to know where actually we need to do something differently. Because it's only when we are able to change who we are can we then change the other people.
There's been no visuals saying, okay, well, these are the steps you have to take. It has been a mind engagement. That's why we have workbooks. We've been thinking, then putting down those ideas down. And those ideas are what we now go back home, reflect on, and now act on it.
Rising from the successes recorded in this edition, organizers say there are plans to extend the program to more women. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Nigeria from Kenya, where he attended the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, at 50. Buhari, who participated in a special session to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the United Nations body, had initially planned to proceed to London for a medical checkup, but returned to Abuja this afternoon. Sources at the presidency said that he only returned briefly and would head to London on Sunday for his routine medical checks. Meanwhile, in Kenya, the president also met with the executive secretary of the UN Convention to combat desertification, UNCCD, Mr. Ibrahim Tar, where he, among other things, directed collaboration between the ministries of Environment, Water Resources, Agriculture and Rural Development and Power to combat desertification. To the foreign scene now, even as negotiators meet, Russia forces continue to target major Ukrainian cities. Thousands are thought to either have been killed or wounded since Russia invaded more than a week ago. Odunayo Soya reports.
Major Ukrainian cities are surrounded and under constant attack. This is Chernobyl, a city of textile factories, churches and monasteries. Its greatest misfortune to lay on the route of Russia's advance from the north. In the eastern city of Kharkiv, too, people wake daily to scenes of terrible destruction and the fast-rising civilian death toll.
Look what Putin is doing. This is a war crime committed against the civilians, against the city of Kharkiv.
This city of 1.5 million people, most ethnic Russians, is being torn apart by Russian forces for no reason other than it exists just across the border from Russia in Ukraine. In the far south, Ukraine's biggest port, Odessa, is under threat too. Here, frantic efforts have been on for days to build defenses against impossible breach landing. Multiple vessels belonging to Russia Black Sea Fleet over an horizon including landing ships and support crafts. Ukraine military is very much still in this fight. Reinforced by supplies of weapons from abroad, they have been able to apply real pressure from the Russia advance, slowing the progress of advance, call of armor, artillery and soldiers heading for the capital Kiev. Along its route, a once sleepy commuter town lies in ruins, a foretaste of what may be in store for Kiev. The parent aim is to encircle the city and besiege it. From the bunker and his heavy guard, President Volodymyr Zelensky wages a relentless communication campaign rally resistance and calling in for support.
Я боюсь про це. We have been saying this for a long time, that Ukraine is seeking for protections for our home soil and our own people, but such protections have not been provided. European countries assisted us with the waves of migration. However, we should discuss the guarantees that are required to protect our country, our home soil, and our people.
A second round of talks on Thursday between Russia and Ukraine at a location on the border with Belarus came with low expectations of a breakthrough, but a slim glimmer of hope that they are taking place at all. The Ukrainian government, meanwhile, has called for humanitarian corridors to be set up, and here in the western city of Lviv, volunteers are processing a donation of medicine, clothes, food and other essentials for distribution across the country. There is humanitarian crisis erupting on multiple fronts, not just the internally displaced who left everything behind in a scramble for safety across border, as more than 1 million has done since the invasion, and also huge populations in other centers trapped, terrified and desperate for help. Civilian morale will vary now in a population increasingly terrorized. There will be depression in some places, determination in others. A spontaneous rendition of the national anthem at the aid station in Lviv. It is becoming even clearer that the struggle is not just for personal survival, but for the survival of the nation as a whole. Odunayo Sawyer, Osrc News.
And now to sport. Ondo State representatives in the National Handball Division 1, Owena Kings, defeated Correction Boys 22-21 in the penultimate match of the championships. Owena Kings clinched victory against their tough opponent in the nick of time at the Sam Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin. The victory takes their tally to 5 wins from 6 games and joint tops with Correction. The Ondo State team will complete their round-robin series when they battle Bruno Spiders on Saturday. Before we go on the news, a quick look at some of the highlights of the bulletin. The first batch of Nigerians from Ukraine have landed in Abuja as uncertainty beclouds fence-mending negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. Governor Oluwatimi Akeredolu has worked his administration's promise to return schools to missionary owners. Ondo State government says it will continue to invest in capacity building to bring forth the best from education stakeholders. Following sustained raids on Boko Haram insurgents, Nigeria has dropped in terrorism reckoning on global chart. And that's it on the news tonight. Oluwatoyin Omodara is my name. Don't forget, the big issue continues.